Drop is a 2025 horror thriller that tells the story of a woman who's on a date with a guy she met on an app, starts receiving messages that she must kill him or else her son and sister will die.
Toby, no!
Now, in the end, Drop was a wild ride. It was quite exhilarating because this movie's goal is to stop an invisible killer who knows your every move. With so much at stake, the mere possibility of trying to find their identity is against their rules. Rules that could end the life of your family. So yeah, how can one navigate a no-win situation? How can you begin to survive a night that's been planned for you with the entire deck stacked against you? Now I honestly can see Drop being a franchise type of movie. It's like Mission Impossible of the horror genre. What makes this work is the no-win situations, and the fun of this sort of film is seeing how the person who's put in a no-win situation prevails or potentially fail. So this movie has all sorts of sequel possibility, but honestly, that's how Christopher Landon movies tend to go. And this brand of horror is something I can watch any day of the week. And yes, I do recommend this title.
Randy.
Now, Abduct is a 2025 psychological horror movie that tells the story of how a woman who's on a mountain getaway has her life turned upside down when her boyfriend disappears at night, but only to have a naked stranger show up at her door the next morning, claiming to be him.
I didn't know. I was eating some fucking Cocoa Puffs and this motherfucker comes in.
Now, in the end, Abduct is a lot better than it had any business being. Based on its packaging, it comes across like this low-budget, really bad effort project, but then it quickly turns into a really good time. I mean, the acting is decent, the suspense is done well, and there's enough thriller and blood that makes this movie earn its horror title. But the thing that makes 2025's Abduct work is that the first half, you're 100% sure you're watching an alien abduction movie. Then they subvert your expectation, and then it all becomes a sort of psycho thriller movie. I mean, this movie keeps you interested because the character work is good enough. You actually buy into the idea that these people are friends. Then you buy into the idea that Chris number 2 is truly who he say he is. Then you also buy into the peril that Emma goes through. I mean, the idea of not having the police help you during crisis really resonates with a lot of people. I mean, you have several branching stories, the abduction story, the idea that Chris is trying to prove himself to Emma and his friends. Then you have the drug dealers who really heightens the situation, and even the Bars and Randy relationship. I mean, you're brought into all these storylines that happen to converge in the end. Then by the time it takes you on sort of a proto-thriller ending, you're completely invested. And believe it or not, this is what helps sells this movie, because the twists and turns work to the benefit of this project. And of course, I highly recommend this movie. Now, Screamboat is a 2025 horror comedy that tells the story of how an anthropomorphic rat hijacks a New York ferry while killing off its inhabitants. Now, it's up to the lone survivors to take him down once and for all.
Say cheese, motherfucker.
Oh boy.
Now, in the end, Screamboat was not what I thought it would be. But the bigger question is, what did I think it was? Now, based on some pretty prominent YouTubers, and I'm not calling any names, you would think this was a serious horror movie, meaning that the tone of this movie was supposed to be taken at face value. But no, this is actually very comical, and it's more like a parody of a slasher movie using only a rat. Believe it or not, I'm so happy that they took a tongue-in-cheek approach with this movie, because this is what makes it stand out. I mean, we have these drunk girls who are so over the top, you're wanting them to die very quickly, and Willie kills them all. But he kills them because they're annoying. I mean, one of them is so dumb, he just can't believe it. I mean, he is actually insulted at how dumb she is, and Willie actually kills her for being so stupid. I mean, there are a ton of kills that will leave you laughing. I mean, you'll quickly realize that the filmmakers didn't take themselves seriously at all. And because of that, you will love it. And this is perhaps the biggest reason why I recommend this movie.
Give me the horn.
Now, Death of a Unicorn is a 2025 fantasy horror that tells the story of how a lawyer who works for a greedy pharmaceutical company's family mistakenly runs over a unicorn that sets off a chain of events of deadly consequences.
I think you might be leaving.
In the end, Death of a Unicorn is quite an experience. Yes, it is a horror, and yes, it is a comedy, but it's also a conversational piece on the ethics of science and Big Pharma. So, is Big Pharma this all-encompassing evil, or is it a necessary step toward health, progress, and healing? I think this movie sort of skirts the line of taking sides. It's one that we can continue to have as we progress as a society. Now, as for the movie, the acting is great, the story is great, and I enjoy the lore of the mythical unicorn. So, would I recommend it? Yes. But just know, a horror comedy is not for everyone.
Get out there, get out there!
Now, Sinners is a 2025 supernatural horror movie that tells the story of how twin brothers with a shady past move back to the Mississippi Delta to open a juke joint while gaining the ire of the local KKK and a deceptive cult leader.
We heard tale of a party. Drank, food, blues music, and the like.
And in the end, Sinners was biblical. This movie isn't child or church friendly, but it's a very biblical movie in terms that the central theme throughout the Bible itself are humans consistently choosing the wrong path and rejecting the godly path. I mean, they end up suffering dire consequences only to be saved by God, but when they have the opportunity to make another choice of good versus evil, they choose evil again. And if you've seen this movie, you will understand that the title Sinners is very apropos. So, starting with Sammy, falling into temptation leads to a sin that becomes every character's undoing. It is Sammy's blues playing that puts him in the path of vampires or simply getting in trouble. And there's Stack and Mary's greed that kills them.
Hell yeah. What, they want to drink with this or something?
Smoke vengeance kills him. Annie's occultism, a sin that is in the Bible, leads to her supernatural demise.
And work every route my grandmama taught me to keep you and that crazy brother of yours safe.
And Perline's adultery leads to her death. And even the KKK members' hatred leads to their demise.
You go to hell, nigger.
I think this movie serves as a biblical reminder that while we are free to make our own choices, we aren't free from the consequences. And until next time, when CEDtalks horror.